All right, welcome everyone to the Just Nuke Eye podcast. We've got another awesome week, another awesome apocalyptic probe. This time we're diving into two gripping flash fiction stories that you, the listeners, shared with us. It's pretty clear that you guys want to see how different societies would cope when the lights go out, like really go out, both literally and, figuratively.
Yeah, it's a theme that just keeps coming back, doesn't it? That whole idea of facing the unknown. And this time our mission with this apocalyptic probe is, well, I guess you could say we're trying to extract the core survival strategies, like what works, what doesn't, what kind of surprising alliances pop up, in these extreme situations. And of course, we got to look at those basic human responses when everything goes sideways.
Exactly. And the first flash fiction story that we're going to probe, is called When Lights Fail. This story is crazy. Imagine a world swallowed by this never-ending night. We're going to break down how this group of survivors, just trying to make it, stumble into this hidden world, almost mythical. And guess what? This other world is also on the verge of collapse, and it leads to this super unexpected alliance.
Oh yeah, alliances you wouldn't predict. It's wild. And then we've got our second story, Sun Chasers. This one's a real trip. Picture this. The world's stuck under this perpetual eclipse, and naturally, a dangerous cult pops up.
Yeah.
Got to have that end-of-the-world cult action. And there's this lone skeptic, brave soul, going up against their, let's just say, interesting beliefs. And get this, they use the power of just looking around, observing, and good old-fashioned knowledge to fight back.
So, all right, let's jump right into When Lights Fail, shall we? The story kicks off with this really powerful description of the darkness. I mean, this isn't just your average lights out situation. It's like, bam, instant and total darkness. And the way it's described is so cool. It felt, well, they describe it as sentient, almost like, quote, ink bleeding across a page. That's some visual, right?
Yeah, that's some serious imagery, man. And what grabbed me right away was how they focused on Tess and her instinct, to protect her little brother, Toby. It's like, boom, instant emotional connection to this apocalypse, right?
It makes it personal.
Totally. Makes it hit home. Like, this isn't just some abstract disaster anymore. Then we get to meet this whole ragtag bunch of survivors. We've got Marcus, the ex-soldier, carrying all that baggage.
Right.
And then there's Doc, classic Doc, already mumbling about some forgotten lore. You got to have a Doc in these stories, right?
But the thing is, they're all so vulnerable at first. I love how they described it. They called it, and I'm quoting here, an affront to a world that had turned against them. What do you make of that phrase?
Well, I think, that feeling, right, of being totally out of whack with the world, like the universe just did a 180 on you, it throws you off balance, makes you feel helpless. And then you've got Doc clinging to these ancient stories and knowledge. It's almost like maybe, just maybe, that old stuff holds the key to understanding this whole mess, or even fixing it.
Yeah, it's like reaching back into the past for a solution to the present, right?
Yeah.
But then things get even weirder. There are these whispers carried on the wind. Seriously spooky stuff, like dot failing, dot the weave, Shadowkin rise. Chills, man. And Doc. Well, let's just say he's not mumbling anymore. He's full-on frantic, scribbling notes like crazy, sketching runes. His whole vibe shifts. He starts talking about the veil thinning, about these, quote, different beings, not your typical demons, starting to, seep through. So what's the deal with this veil? How should we understand that in the context of the story?
Okay, so think of the veil, right? Like this barrier, a wall between different realities or dimensions, if you will. Doc, he's convinced that this wall is weakening, and that's how these Shadowkin are crossing over. See, it's not just a simple power outage or something. It's like, boom, interdimensional stuff. Doc, with all his weird knowledge, gives us a totally different way to look at the darkness. It's not just the absence of light, but something else entirely, like something's invading.
It's like darkness is a thing itself, not just a lack of something, right? Creepy. And then we finally get a glimpse of what's lurking in the shadows. It's not just these monstrous shapes, but also these flickering forms. Like, there's a battle going on out there. It's these moonlit warriors clashing with, get this, quote, creatures formed of pure, ravenous emptiness. Jokes. And who steps up ready to fight? Marcus, the soldier. Classic. What's that tell us about him?
Well, a soldier's gonna soldier, right? It's in their blood, that instinct to fight when they see a threat. But here's the cool part. There's another layer of conflict now. It's not just surviving the darkness, it's this whole war they've stumbled into. Like, there's a bigger picture they're just starting to see. Now, at first you'd think, oh, Shadowkin must be the bad guys. But hold on, the story's got some surprises up its sleeve.
Oh yeah, things are about to get interesting. And just when the tension is cranked way up, who shows up? Fenya. Talk about an entrance. She just materializes out of the darkness with these piercing, spectral eyes. And right away, she sets them straight. She's like, guys, Wrong idea. It's not demons, not in the way you're thinking. Then she drops this mind-blowing concept. Worlds brushing against each other. Get that. The veil's weakening because their world, the human world, its light is failing. And these shadow golems, not evil invaders, but refugees. Desperate beings from a dying world. Talk about a plot twist. What a game changer, huh?
Totally. Changes everything. Now, the Shadowkin aren't just monsters to be scared of, but a mirror image of the survivors themselves. They're in the same boat. And that opens up a whole new possibility for, empathy, maybe even understanding. And that's what lays the groundwork for their alliance later on. Remember, folks, don't judge a book by its spooky, shadowy cover.
Right. Don't jump to conclusions. And out of everyone, it's Tess who seems to get it. She feels that shared desperation. And then Fienia throws down this choice. Fight for a world that's already fading, or team up with them and fight for one that still has a chance. Heavy stuff. Doc jumps in talking about ancient pacts, these forgotten agreements about helping to repair the veil. And Mark is always the practical one. He's like, hey, warriors who can fight in the dark. Sounds useful. What do you think? What's motivating each of them to even consider this crazy alliance?
I think it's a mixed bag, really. It's like you got the mystical stuff with Doc and his ancient knowledge, then Marcus with his military mind, just weighing the odds. And Tess, she's got that empathy thing going on. It shows how different people with different viewpoints can find common ground when they're all facing the same existential threat.
Makes you think about those times when people from completely different walks of life come together for a common goal, right? And then the pact is made. The pact of resistance, they call it. Each character brings their own unique thing to the table. Doc, chanting, and the campfire suddenly blazes with this otherworldly glow. Super cool imagery. Then there are the runes drawn on their skin, like this promise of resistance. Fienia, she's got this moonstone blade that doesn't destroy the shadows, but repels them. And Marcus, good old Marcus, he sticks with his trusty torch. Even in a world of magic and shadow creatures, you gotta love the practicality. It shows that everyone has something to contribute, even in the most bizarre situations.
Absolutely. It's like, hey, every skill counts, right? Mystical powers, tactical know-how, even just knowing how to light a fire. The runes and the moonstone blade, they represent a connection to that other world. It's power. But the torch, it's a link to their own reality. It's a reminder that even when things get crazy weird, don't forget the basics.
Exactly. And then the first battle explodes.
Yeah.
Tess, she's surprisingly brave, not like a warrior's bravery, but this courage that comes from fighting for a shared purpose, side by side with these beings from another dimension. And then, bam, the story hits us with this first faint glimmer on the horizon. But hold on, it's not sunrise. It's the veil strengthening because of their combined efforts. How cool is that?
Mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
Their teamwork, it's literally affecting reality. It's like their willingness to look past their fear, to join forces. It's pushing back the darkness. Powerful stuff.
And that's how When Light's Veil ends, with this awesome feeling of transformation. They're not just a random bunch of survivors anymore. They've become, and this is another great quote, warriors against the encroaching dark, fighting for something so much bigger than themselves. It's not just their world on the line now, it's others too. What a powerful shift in identity, right?
For sure. They've gone from just reacting, trying to survive, to actively protecting a whole network of worlds. That kind of purpose, that can fuel you like nothing else, especially when the odds are stacked against you.
Okay, so we've explored that incredible tale of unlikely alliances and fighting against the darkness. Now let's shift gears in our apocalyptic probe and take on our second flash fiction story, Sun Chasers. This one's got a whole different vibe. Imagine the sun slowly dying, the sky, quote, bleeding color, until it's just this oppressive gray void. And as if that wasn't bad enough, this prophet emerges from the gloom, preaching about atonement and the need for sacrifice to bring the sun back. What are your initial thoughts on this setup?
Well, I'm thinking, it's like watching a natural disaster become this catalyst for chaos. The sun fading, that's bad enough. But then you throw in fear and uncertainty and boom, perfect breeding ground for, cults and all sorts of crazy beliefs. This prophet dude, he steps into that void offering explanations and solutions. But, well, let's just say his solutions are pretty messed up.
Yeah, things get pretty dark pretty fast. And this cult of sun chasers, they gain some serious traction. They're pyres. They're the only source of light now. Kind of a twisted symbol, right? Fueled by these increasingly brutal sacrifices. First it's criminals, but then, well, anyone who's different, anyone who's a convenient scapegoat, you know how it goes. Talk about a spiral into fanaticism. What does this whole sacrifice escalation tell us about how these movements work?
It's a classic pattern, unfortunately. Fear and desperation, they can erode even the strongest values. The pyres, they started as a beacon of hope, but they turn into symbols of the cult's power and the community's willingness to do awful things in the name of that hope. It's a scary reminder of how easily people can be manipulated when they're afraid. And that's why it's so important to question those in power, especially when things are falling apart around you.
Right on. But amidst all this darkness, we meet Kyra. She's not your typical action hero, but she has something powerful. Knowledge. Her dad taught her all about the stars, about how the universe works. And this knowledge, it clashes directly with the prophet's whole narrative. Kyra believes there's a natural reason for this eclipse. It's not about sin or punishment. What's so important about this contrast between her understanding and the fear that's gripping everyone else?
Kyra, she represents the power of using your brain, even when everyone else is losing their minds. Her father's teachings gave her a different lens to see the world through, a lens of observation, of natural laws. It sets her apart, gives her a foundation to rebel against the madness.
Yeah, she's a rebel with a cause, and her weapon of choice is knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And when the cult comes for her, she doesn't try to fight them head on, she runs. And in her escape, she stumbles into this secret camp of the Keepers. Tell us about them.
The Keepers, they're like this little pocket of sanity in a world gone mad. Astronomers, scientists, thinkers, they're the outcasts, the ones who still believe in reason and observation, even though everyone else is given into superstitions. Like, in times of upheaval, sometimes the most important knowledge is held by those on the fringes,
Okay.
the ones who don't fit in with the mainstream.
Yeah, those who dare to think differently. And Kyra, she doesn't fight back with violence. She fights back by diving deep into the Keeper's knowledge, trying to understand the mechanics of the eclipse, her goal. To predict when it will end, to break the cult's hold with cold, hard facts. What's so powerful about using knowledge as a weapon instead of, say, swords and stuff?
Well, I'd say it's a really smart way to rebel. Instead of just fighting fire with fire, she's going after the root of the problem, the cult's whole ideology. By figuring out how the eclipse actually works, she can show everyone that it's not some divine punishment. Knowledge, and it's the ultimate truth bomb.
Truth bomb. I love it. But meanwhile, things are getting crazier in the village. The rituals are getting more and more extreme. And Kyra, she's now public enemy #1. The clock is ticking. She has to figure this out fast. How does that pressure affect her mission?
Well, it's like every ritual, every crazed chant, it's a reminder that time is running out. The more powerful the cult gets, the more danger Kyra's in. It adds this sense of urgency to her quest for knowledge.
And so, in the Keeper's hidden camp, she dives deep into their charts, their ancient texts, the works. And Old Alien, he gives her this amazing device, a contraption of lenses and gears, almost like something out of a steampunk novel. It's for timing the moon, for understanding its movements. What's the significance of this tech in the midst of all this superstition?
That device, it's a symbol, It represents the Keeper's whole approach to the world. It's about measuring, understanding, using tools and logic to figure things out. It's the opposite of the cult's blind faith and rituals.
Science versus superstition, right?
Yeah.
And then we get to this awesome scene. Kyra returns to the village square. It's totally overrun with the cult and their creepy prophet. What does she do? She climbs the bell tower. What a power move. What do you think that choice of location represents?
Oh, man. The bell tower, it's like the heart of the community, right?
Right.
And now it's under the cult's control. So by climbing it, Kyra's reclaiming it. She's taking a stand, showing them that their reign of fear won't last forever.
And from that high vantage point, with the whole village watching, she starts working that device, those gears whirring. She's tracking the moon, making calculations. The pressure's got to be immense. And finally, she gets it. She predicts the sun will return in just a few days. It's a moment of pure, calculated brilliance, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's all about logic, about observation, not some vague prophecy. She's putting her faith in the natural order of the universe, not in some supernatural mumbo-jumbo.
And when she makes her announcement, it's not some mystical revelation. It's a statement of fact. The sun will return in 3 days. The prophet, he freaks out, naturally. But you could feel the shockwave ripple through the crowd. And then Kyra drops the mic. She says she'll prove it, or she'll burn on their pyre. What a bold move.
High stakes. She's putting it all on the line. But it's a brilliant move. She's forcing them to confront the possibility, that they might be wrong. It's a challenge to the prophet's whole authority and a testament to the power of conviction, even in the face of crazy...
And then comes the waiting game. Those few days must have felt like an eternity, right? But just when the tension's about to snap, the Keepers appear, telescopes in hand. They confirm Kyra's calculations, giving her prediction of the weight of scientific authority. You can almost feel the doubt creeping in among the cult's followers. What's the significance of that external validation?
It's huge. It's like, boom, independent verification. It strengthens Kyra's position, chipping away at the cult's credibility. It shows the power of a community, united by reason, going up against blind faith.
Right. It's like, see, we're not just making this stuff up. And then the moment of truth arrives, the dawn of the predicted day. But it's not an instant sunrise. The sky stays gray, the tension hanging heavy in the air. And then, there it is, the first flicker of light on the horizon growing brighter, wider until the sun bursts through the clouds. The story describes the crowd's reaction, the prophet's meltdown, all amidst this wave of relief and joy. What's so powerful about that delayed return of the sun?
Well, it's like the light coming back. It's not just about the sun, it's about hope returning. Hope for a better future, a future free from fear and ignorance. The prophet, his authority crumbles because reality just proved him wrong. It's a victory for knowledge, for courage, for thinking for yourself, even when it's hard.
And the flash fiction story wraps up with this feeling that the cult's days are numbered. But the real kicker is Kyra's realization, and I'm quoting here, hope was the most powerful weapon of all. It's not just the sun coming back, it's the hope she ignited in people's hearts. What are your final thoughts on that?
Hope, man. It's what keeps us going. Kyra's actions, they didn't just bring back the light, they brought back reason and the belief that things can get better. It's a powerful reminder that even when it's darkest, hope, backed by knowledge and courage, can change the world.
So in this apocalyptic probe, we've explored two totally different responses to darkness, both the literal and metaphorical kind. In When Lights Fail, survival meant embracing the unknown, teaming up with a hidden world, and realizing that they weren't so different after all. It's a reminder that in the face of oblivion, being adaptable, being willing to connect with those who seem strange, well, that might be the key to making it through.
Yeah, and in Sun Chasers, it was a different kind of fight, a fight against ignorance and fear fought with knowledge and bravery. Kyra's story shows us that even when everyone else is buying into the crazy, one person, armed with facts and a healthy dose of skepticism, can make a difference.
And when you think about these two stories together, what really stands out is how important it is to look beyond the immediate threat. In the first story, it's seeing the Shadowkin not just as monsters, but as fellow beings struggling to survive. And in the second, it's about understanding the eclipse as a natural event, not some punishment from the gods. It makes you wonder, when we face huge challenges, how much do our first impressions limit us? How could digging a little deeper, trying to understand things better, lead to solutions we never even imagined?
That's the question, isn't it? Sometimes the answers we need are hidden in plain sight, but we gotta be willing to look for them, to question what we think we know. And that's what these stories are all about. Challenging assumptions, finding strength in unexpected places, and never, ever giving up hope.
Boom. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this week's Apocalyptic Probe on the Just Nuke-ite podcast. We hope you found these stories as thought-provoking as we did. And remember, rate and follow the show for more awesome stories, more wild apocalyptic probes, and more reasons to just nuke. See you next time.